I'm known today as the mindset disruption strategist. And the reason that is because I was raised in West Texas and I buried my mother the day before I started my freshman year of high school, which led to my father's bankruptcy, which led to me chasing wealth in all the wrong places and chasing abundance, which then led me to a place I never expected to be, on just miserable and separated from my wife.
Welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. As always, I have an incredible guest that I'm very excited to get to talk to, learn from, and connect with. And I'm very excited for this one because it's probably going to be one of the best podcasts I've done. So yes. I'm looking forward to it. And before I introduce this gentleman to you, though, I just want to ask all of you for a favor. I wanted to ask you that if you get something out of this interview, if you get some type of value, some insight, information, a new skill, or the inspiration or knowledge to go out and take action to keep on moving forward towards your goals, I want to ask you to please share this episode with 10 people. Share it on social media, share it on Instagram, on Facebook, share like a screenshot of it on your stories, share with your mother and your father, share with someone that you think this will impact, share with 10 people, since this is how we grow. This is how we share our message and motivate, inspire, and bless others out there to change their lives and tap into their God-given potential. And today I have Eric Dunavant. Is that Dunavant?
That's it.
Dunavant.
Nailed it.
Dunavant. Got it. And he's an author, speaker, consultant, serial entrepreneur, and philanthropist who's been in the financial services industry for over 2 decades. Eric has been featured in a variety of media outlets such as the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Business Insider. He's worked with top wealth advisors and received multiple awards and accolades in the area of business and finance. And Eric has dedicated his life to his family and the fight against world poverty. And Eric's greatest passion is to empower those on the path to abundance to create transformation that lasts for generations. Incredible. So Eric, thank you very much for being here, bro. I really appreciate you, and you are welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. We're going to have a good time. I told you this is going to be one of the best podcasts you've done in a while. And that's not my ego. I try and bring that energy so we can have a good time together.
Awesome. So I actually wanted to ask you, because, like you told me that several times before our podcast, right? And actually like 2 or 3 times. And I was like, I was wondering whether that's just you, like you just record the best podcast, or maybe you've seen other of my episodes or something like that. Is it just you?
Oh, it's just me. That's just me.
That's who you are.
It's confidence.
All right. You're just the guy that brings the best content to the table. Awesome.
That's it.
I liked it, man. So the first thing that I do with my guests, man, is I ask them to walk us through their entrepreneurial journey in 75 seconds or less.
Wow.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah. 75 seconds or less. Clock is ticking, huh? I'm known today as the mindset disruption strategist. And the reason that is because I was raised in West Texas and I buried my mother the day before I started my freshman year of high school, which led to my father's bankruptcy, which led to me chasing wealth in all the wrong places and chasing abundance, which then led me to a place I never expected to be, on just miserable and separated from my wife and lost on what was going to happen next, and came to a point of realizing what true abundance looked like, and that what the world's definition of success was completely backwards from what scripture actually says abundance and wealth looks like. And I started to unpack that in myself and in my life, and through a series of failures and successes and failures again, came to the point of really understanding what true success is today. And I don't get it right all the time, but it's that journey along the way that led me to where I am I've got multiple businesses today that just give me an opportunity to make that impact on world poverty while at the same time making an impact on my wife and my kids and employees and people I get to work with.
That's exciting, man. That's such a, see, like God talks to me, man. And I don't want to make this religious, but he really does.
Yeah.
So let me, so I have my own like definition of like abundance, right? And I believe that abundance is just like a perception, right? Like it's literally just a perception.
Yep.
Like the perception of abundance comes with gratitude, right? Like
Absolutely.
you perceive that you have, right? Like, and you're grateful for all the things that you have, and you are abundant. And then scarcity is the opposite. It's just the perception of lack, which comes when you are not like present in the moment. You're like fearful about the past, fearful about what's coming in the future, and you're not able to just be present and be grateful about what you have right now. And therefore you experience lack, right?
Correct.
But like abundance and scarcity, I've experienced that is a choice.
It is. Yeah. We'll go back to your mindset disruption strategy. It's about your mindset. Which mindset are you going to choose today? Which mindset are you going to bring into the way that you do? Are you going to bring a mindset of abundance? Or are you going to be a mindset of scarcity? Because either way, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, okay. So then you start. And I'm sorry to hear about your mother, man. That must have been really traumatic and tragic, right? Like losing her, like a day before your freshman year.
So I went to my mom's funeral the day before I started my freshman year of high school.
High school, right? Which is like, they're like the most impactful years of, you've been programmed for the past 18 years of your life, like 15 years of your life. And then like those 4 years are where all of those programs come to the surface and you're like really insecure and all of that, right? So, so how were those 4 years of high school?
They had their ups and downs. I mean, one of the things that I've always been able to do is to kind of create some of my own success. So, I mean, I had some success. I'm a musician. I was in the band in high school. I made it all the way to, and if you're in band, being the drum major of the band is almost the same as being the quarterback of the football team. Not the same, but I mean, so I made it to drum major in my high school band. That was pretty cool. Relationally, I was kind of a mess because I was searching for love and replacement from my mom in all the wrong places. You get how that happens. But what really was probably the hardest was my relationship with my dad. My relationship, my parents had been separated. My dad moved back in. And my dad was so focused on business and so focused on what was going on financially. And what you need to know is my senior year of high school, he filed bankruptcy. So he did not plan well through that entire thing. So all this financial strain is coming down. He's feeling it more and more and more every day. And his health went away from him. Our relationship got really, really strained. And, it was a really hard 4 years from that standpoint. It's probably what ignited, it's what ignited inside of me of, I've got to go find abundance because this life right here is scarcity. And I want to know what abundance looks like because I'm living in scarcity and I'm sick of it and I don't like it. And so it pushed me all the way to, and we can talk about this a little bit more, but by the time I get to college and everything else, I'm chasing wealth for the sake of wealth, not for what it could give me or for, this overall definition of abundance, which is even beyond wealth. Abundance is about a mindset, not about your bank account. But that whole season really shapes moving me from, I don't like where we are right now. I don't like what we're losing. I also don't like what it's doing to my dad. And so I'm going to go find something different.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then you went on this path of chasing wealth and abundance in all the wrong places. How did that look like?
Yeah. So it was, it really was about reading every book I could get on what you could do to become rich. But all I wanted it was for the bank account standpoint. And so what I mean by that is just, it was Think and Grow Rich, but it was also, the Millionaire Next Door and all those things. But I was pursuing them for the wrong reason. It was simply for what could it do for my bank account. And the reason that I say that it was the wrong way to do it is because that entire pursuit made me miserable, right? Because there was nothing, I got married when I was in college and I would try and come up with these business ideas. I'd try and come up with these things because when all you're chasing is money, no matter how much money you have, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Right? If the only thing that you're focused on is a larger bank account, then the bank account can never be any bigger than it is. I don't know if your listeners are aware of this or even you, but I mean, John D. Rockefeller, one of the most wealthy men who ever lived, they asked him the question, is like, hey, how much is enough? And his comment was just a little bit more. And I was stuck in that. I was stuck in that place because I could never have enough. And I thought that money was the answer, right? Like I'm neglecting my wife. I'm neglecting my health. I'm neglecting the things that matter because I'm neglecting my relationship with God because I've got a focus. And this is where, I know you don't want to turn this into a religious thing. This is the core of who I am. But in the Bible, a lot of people misuse this word. They like to say that, the Bible says that money is the root of all evil. It does not. It says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And that's exactly what I had, was a love and a pursuit of money. And the reason it says that is because it's in that pursuit that my love of that thing went away from my wife. It went away from my body that God had gifted me, and it went away from my God.
You were literally chasing abundance and wealth in all the wrong places.
Absolutely. But here's what became hard, Alex, is everyone made me believe that what I was doing was the right thing.
Damn. Like focus on your business, work hard. Okay.
Yeah. Right? Work more, work harder. Yeah. Read those books. Yeah. Focus on more money. Everywhere I turned, what I was told is that was I was doing the right thing. I felt terrible. Right? My body, I wasn't healthy. And then, I kind of continue the story. I get to the point, where I'm pursuing my own business. I'm pursuing, I become my own, I have an opportunity to become my own business owner. I have different places where I go in and out of this, where like maybe I get a little nugget of, hey, go try this. So I'll give you one example of this. I got exposed to the concept of generosity. And from a biblical standpoint, what the Bible would say is take 10% of what you have and give it away, and you'll never miss it. And I was like, okay, well, and there are even these scriptures out there that'll talk about that if you get on this train of generosity, then what you end up with is more. Well, so my heart was in the wrong place. And I'm like, well, what I want is more. So if generosity is the secret formula and the Rubik's Cube to how I unlock ending up with more, then I'm going to choose to have generosity. So I began to learn that by giving money away, I did never miss it. I got some joy out of who I was helping or the things I was engaging with. And then at the same time, I would fulfill. I was like, well, I didn't miss it. Okay. So as I'm pursuing this abundance with my heart in the wrong way, I get a little bit of my heart opened up to this idea of generosity. But at the same time, I'm closing myself back off because I go back to this pursuit of wealth or this idea of, a larger bank account or things like that. And so like I would get it's almost like 2 steps ahead, 1 step back, 2 steps ahead, 1 step back. I would start to uncover different pieces of things that would unlock new possibilities for me. And that just became kind of this continual journey. And I had a major transition experience 3 years ago that I'd love to tell you about and kind of open this up because it's really where it all kind of happened. But I want to pause there because if you got some other questions, I'd be happy to answer those. But it was about 3 years ago that my entire world just shifted on its head.
I'm excited. To talk about that. But actually, yeah, before, getting you to talk about your transition experience. With my personal experience, so you were neglecting everything, right?
Yep.
And for money. And I talk about freedoms, physical freedom, taking care of your body and your mind, emotional freedom, right? Like emotionally, like mastering yourself, getting clear on who you are, what you want, and where you're going. Sentimental freedom, being a husband and a father, and then financial freedom. So like the financial freedom hasn't been working until a couple of months ago, actually, right? I finally been able to figure it out. and like I spent like 2 years stuck, right? I was making money, but I was stuck. Like I was chasing money. Yeah. And like I wasn't successful, happy, and fulfilled. At least I didn't feel like it. So I was forced to find this success, happiness, and fulfillment in all the other areas of my life, like by working on my body. Look at me, right? Yeah. Emotionally, like by getting really clear on who I was and getting in tune with me and God, right? Which is me, I believe. And by being a husband and a good husband and father, right? And by doing all of this, I started to gain success, happiness, and fulfillment. And I actually spent the last 2 years working on those three without being able to make those work, not feeling bad about it because I had all of the other three, right? And now that this one, the financial freedom, has been able to work, like man, like I sometimes don't believe that I get to experience what I'm experiencing, man.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, we were at home, right? We have a really nice view, like we're like a very high place, and I was just like, laying down on our like beach or pool share along with my wife and with my daughter, jumping on top of us and stuff, and I'm just like, damn, like just feeling grateful, right, for everything. And I'm like, I can't believe I get to experience this, like this experience of like living. It's crazy. It's crazy, right? And so yeah, and so that's what happened for me, right? And I'm very grateful. And one of the reasons why it happened this way is because I've been talking to people like you, and I've invested into like courses and masterminds and coaches and stuff, right? People who, right, like told me that I've been doing it all wrong all along, and that led me on the path to like redefine success and do it the right way. So yeah, tell me, man, about your transition experience.
Yeah. So, when you own a business, a lot of times you're the key salesperson, right? If you want new business, you got to go out and you got to get it. I mean, that's how that happens. And so I had transitioned my business and bought out a business partner of mine for growth purposes. And there was growth along the way. That's one of the things that I think when you're chasing abundance for the sake of abundance, one of the things that sometimes you miss is this: you can't see your own success. Meaning, because you always want more, you don't even recognize what you've already accomplished.
Yeah.
Again, go back to the lack of gratitude. What I didn't realize is I was at a really successful place, but I had this image and this purpose and this dream that I wanted to be more. So I bought out a business partner. Well, I was traveling all the time. And I will tell you this part of the story too. I remember my middle son, Austin, looked at me one time and he said, "You keep saying next year you're going to travel less. Next year's never coming, is it?" And I was like, oh, that hit me in the gut. But I didn't do anything about it. I just felt really bad. And then this happened. This was 3 years ago in March. And the February before, I had spent 20 of 28 days on the road traveling.
Damn.
So 20 of 28, I'd been on the road doing business because I love my family and because I was trying to build abundance for them, right? All this, I'm just chasing the dollar without realizing what I'm doing. And we're going to circle back to the things that you're talking about: the physical freedom, the emotional freedom, the relational freedom, financial freedom. But I'm standing in an experience with a good friend of mine now. He wasn't a friend at this time. And it was a coaching experience. And he looked at me and he said, "Hey, I just want you to tell me and tell everyone here why you hate your family."
Damn.
And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Look, let's just be honest with each other. Nobody who loves their family is gone from home 20 out of 28 days. So what I know is you must hate your family. So tell me why." I'm like, "Oh, no, I don't hate my family." And he's like, "Okay, well, let's look at the facts. You own the business, you set this travel schedule, and you were gone 20 of 28 days. Tell me again why you hate your family." And I'm like, I'm in tears. I'm broken, right? It's like, I don't hate my family. Oh my goodness, what have I done? What do I need to do? And he's like, "Look, here's what I want you to do. I want you to forget about the business. The business is successful. See the abundance you have. Forget about the business. I want you to go home and I want you to not go into the office until at least 10:30 every day."
10:30 a.m.
10:30 a.m.
Okay.
He's like, "Don't go in the office till at least 10:30. In that morning time, what I want you to do is go work out and take care of your body." Physical freedom. Sound familiar?
Exactly. Yeah.
And he's like, "Then I want you to go home and have relational freedom with your wife and your children. I want you to connect with your wife. I want you to get connected with your kids. I want you to take them to school. I want you to love on them. I want you to cook them breakfast. I want you to do all of those things. It's like, then I want you to take time and what you would call emotional freedom. He's like, I want you to just connect with God, whatever, and for me, that would look like, for me, it was reading the word and worshiping and doing things. It's going to look different for everybody, but like, just get clear on your purpose and what God has you here for. And only after you've done those three things can you go to the office. Now, Alex, here's what happened.
That looks like my calendar, by the way.
There you go. You've redefined success, because the rest of the world says you get up really early and you get into the office at 6:30 and you grind and you grind and you grind and you grind. And it's sad that your body sucks, but that's what you got to do when you're grinding, And anyway, a couple of things happened. Started to get fit. I'm not going to take off. I finally got biceps and everything for the first time in my 49 years. Like, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm digging this. I'm better connected to my wife. I'm better connected to my kids. I'm better connected to God and hearing his voice and knowing direction and purpose and what I'm supposed to be doing. But here's the thing. Here's the other thing that happened. Because I wasn't in the office, my teams stepped up and started doing things that I thought I had to do. And so
that you
my
were in the way of,
teams became better. And I started to realize what other people were really good at. And I got out of their way so that they could help the business grow. Right.
Cool.
And so I'm experiencing my own version of abundance and life right now in completely a different way, because I've got a body that I'm happy with. I've got relationships with my wife and kids that are awesome, relationship with God, and my business is getting it. It still has things that I want out of it, but it's getting to a place of where I can go out and kind of tell this message. And one of the things that I love to tell business owners or people who are trying to build a business is that stop trying to solve a business problem, because more than likely you don't have a business problem. You've got a body, you've got a connection, or you got a God problem. Those are one of your three problems, and you think you got a business problem, and that's not it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Businesses don't have problems, right? Businesses have people. People have problems that they take to their business.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then here was the other shift that came for me, because a lot of times as business owners, we start to think that, okay, well, that's good for me, but then I need somebody in the business at 5 or 6:30 because all this other stuff's got it done. If you truly trust your people, then the next level of this is equipping them to understand this for themselves. So what does it look like for each one of your employees to have physical freedom? What does it look like for each one of your employees to have emotional freedom, to have relational freedom, so that they can have financial freedom?
Building people, right? You build yourself and then you build others. That's literally what I'm doing, man. Like,
there you go.
I'm building my team and my team is helping me build my business.
Yeah.
And they work so hard, man. Like, I can't believe it sometimes. Like, right? I have to tell them, like today, right? We got a task. They started working at 6 a.m. And then I told them, hey, so today there's a change of plans. Instead of doing this, we're going to do this, right? And it was 5 a.m. Like I woke up and then I sent them that message because, like that I thought about it. And then at 5, like there was already, there was someone working. I got a notification on my phone and I was like, you're working early? And then they were like, yeah, I was free. And then I started working. Right. Like they start early. They woke up, they work out late. I mean, they work late. Yeah. And I sometimes just can't get them to stop. Like I tell them, hey, like take a break. And they just want to keep on working harder. But it's because like I build them, I jump on coaching calls with them to talk about their physical freedom problems, their emotional freedom problems, their sentimental freedom problems. I've gave them my everything, right? Just like you're talking. So I did it for me and then I'm doing it for them. And they feel that they probably feel like someone cares for them, which is something that they probably never felt before in their lives.
That's it.
Right? The validation, acceptance, love, right? Seen and heard. And now they're like, want to pay it back.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. I don't know.
No. I think that's exactly it. I mean, you talk about success, happy, and fulfilled, right? I mean, it's one thing for you to be successful, happy, and fulfilled, but what does it look like if the people who work for you are successful and happy and fulfilled? Because what that does is that come back to this generosity idea, is that's what truly generosity is. Generosity is about turning around and realizing this is not all mine. I give you an example of the way that this was explained to me. Because you can live life one of two ways. You can live life as to where you have to hold on to everything tightly. Oh my goodness, this is everything I have and I'm holding on to it tightly and this is mine and I'm building this and this is what I want and this is the bank accounts and da-da-da. Or you can hold your life loosely, right? And so I'm going to be generous and I'm going to give and I'm going to pour into other people financially and relationally and physically and whatever that calls for. And guess what? When you hold your hand loosely, some stuff may get out, but what else? Other stuff can get in that you weren't, because you weren't holding on so tight. And then not only that, look at how much bigger your hands are when they're open versus when they're closed. So there's so much more abundance that can come in. And so you talked about this idea that one of my passions is, world poverty. One of the things that I've realized and truly believe, and I think you're a great example of this inside of doing your own business and what you're growing, is that business is one of the keys to unlocking poverty. For people who are stuck in poverty, if you can show them how to start and run a business and how to equip, so they create success and happiness and fulfillment for themselves. And then they, around their neighborhoods, they create success and happiness and fulfillment in that. So part of a generosity movement inside of our family is, in areas of poverty, we like to partner with organizations who are educating people who are in poverty on how to run businesses. But there's two problems for people who are in poverty. One is education. Second is access to capital. So where we try and bridge the loan with the right partnerships and the right places is then we try and partner with those people who are providing education to then provide access to capital in those areas. Because I don't know how it was for you, but I had certain access to capital along the way that helped me acquire and grow my business. And for people who are trying to grow in a business, access to capital sometimes can be the difference in success or getting frustrated and stopping.
Yeah. Awesome. And so, okay, so that's how you are solving the world poverty problem. I like that. And it totally makes sense because I'm working with this lawyer. Okay. He's in Mexico. And I speak Spanish. That was my first language. So if I speak, pretty decent English, I speak Spanish even better. And I'm working with this lawyer whose dream once is like becoming a president, right? And I'm going to help him build his business. I'm going to get ownership of that, right? Because we're going to be partners.
Yep.
And then I'm going to help him build $1 million network of people in politics, like people in politics in every single state of Mexico. That's my service.
Yep.
And then in the next 2 years, he'll be connected with 1,000 people in politics in every single state of Mexico. He'll have influence, right? He'll be good friends with them. And so he'll have influence, run for president, and he'll become president. And then his message is not going to be, oh, I'll fix the roads, I'll give free food to everyone. No, that's not going to be his message. His message is going to be, I'll help you become a modern gentleman, a modern king, a modern queen, right? Help you take care of your body and your mind, right? Take care of your mindset emotionally, take care of like who is it that you are, right? Realize your value, learn how to be a man and a father, and a husband. And then let's teach you how to make money. That's going to be the message. It's not going to be like free scholarships, free food. Right. Oh, like we'll create modern kings and queens. Pretty cool.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And when you can create those, it becomes contagious. I mean, I come back to the idea of poverty, but one of the things that has really hit me in visiting some areas of poverty in our community and around where I live in South Louisiana and Mississippi and places like that, and even I've been down to Mexico and some areas of deep poverty there as well in service through our family, but has been this idea that what I find in those places is lack of hope. And when you have lack of hope, then like all is lost. I mean, that if you really want to get down, what makes a difference in the opportunities that sit inside of the United States, as flawed as it is that it provides hope. So when you get into areas where hope is taken out, and what I find is when you can begin to equip people with an idea for a business and an opportunity for a business, they begin to get a glimmer of hope, and that hope is contagious in those communities.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. Real quick, do you want to know how I've been using my podcast to build a multi-million-dollar network with over 100 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs, reach hundreds of my ideal clients with my message, coaching, service, and podcast, get invited to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months alone, through my own events, and have over 100 successful entrepreneurs being willing to speak at my events, become a millionaire in 1 year, get mentored by multimillionaires, and achieve goals that I thought were going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year, and ultimately get unstuck and make quantum leaps of progress in my business and life with less than 1 hour of work just by being myself. If you answered yes to any of those, I just want to invite you to a free training showing you how I've been able to build a multi-million-dollar network that is helping me achieve bigger income goals faster with only 1 hour of speaking and just being myself. To be honest, I thought I was going to be a multi-millionaire, speak on stages, throw my own events, and live a successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and impact in 10 years from now. That seemed so far away, but my podcast has been able to help me do that in less than 6 months. I'm actually doing all of that this year at the age of 21 with my podcast. I'm reaching thousands of people with my message, my service, my podcast, my coaching. I've gotten booked to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months. And on these stages, I'm going to be getting in front of hundreds of my ideal clients, making roughly around 15 to 30K plus per event. Not only that, I have a network of over 100 high-level, multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs who have all agreed to speak at my event. Getting clients is a problem of the past. I've gotten the opportunities to learn from billionaires, and I'm collapsing decades of time, and I'm literally achieving what I thought was going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year. All of this because I use podcasting as a networking tool, and I leveraged a rare concept called the cloak track. And I want the exact same thing for you. Just imagine where you could be in 1 year from now if you get this free training right now. That is why I'm inviting you to this training. On this short training, you're going to learn how a small group of purpose-driven entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, course creators, and speakers have combined podcasting with this rare concept called the cloak track to build a multi-million-dollar network, reach thousands of their ideal clients with their message, books, courses, coaching, make an extra $118,800, get booked on 10 stages, and build a successful network of entrepreneurs who speak on their stage, all of this in under 6 months. I'm going to walk you through the 4 steps to make this work. Step number 1, alignment. Getting clear on who you want to be, what you want to do, your goals, your purpose, and aligning all of this with building your podcast and your ideal podcast guest. Step number 2, leveraging the cloak track to find your ideal podcast guest and never running out of them. Step number 3, leveraging the cloak track to close an interview with anyone, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem. And step number 4, the content machine. The content machine is the key to tapping into other people's audiences. And I'm going to show you all of those 4 steps. The link to access this free training is in the description of this video. Click on it and go watch this training right now so that you can learn how you can too build a multi-million-dollar network that helps you achieve bigger goals faster and with less effort. Note, this training is only available to 18 people, so act right now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So you talk about something that I'm very interested in, right? And one of those things is redefining success, which we just talked about, right? Yeah. Redefining success, which is not money, but wealth and abundance in every single area of your life. The next thing that you talk about that I'm very interested in is creating impact in generational prosperity. So creating abundance that lasts for generations, which is something I'm very interested in because in my obituary, you've probably done this as well, your obituary, right? How you want to be remembered when you grow up. Well, in one of the paragraphs there, it says, strong men create good times create weak men create bad times create strong men men create good times, and then it repeats, right? Yeah. So I want to end that, and I want to be I'm living good times right now, right? And I want to be an even stronger, more evolved, wiser, more intelligent man who creates even better times, in which I intentionally raise, beautiful kids to be stronger than ever, more wiser than ever, more intelligent than ever, more evolved than ever, men and women who change the world, right? So I want that abundance that I'm creating, that prosperity, that wisdom, right, to last for generations, right? Just like what you talk about. So I would love for you to give us some insights on that, man.
Yeah. So here's it comes from what I grew up inside of this business. And it comes back to redefining success, because in the world that we live in, success is defined by dollar signs. Yeah. Right. So what I like to say is success, as the world defines it, is return on investment. What's your ROI? What is your business ROI? What is your portfolio, investment ROI. You tell me your ROI and I'll tell you how well you're doing, right? That's the measurement. What most people don't realize is statistically that pursuit has been failing for generation after generation after generation. It works temporarily, but like the divorce rate for entrepreneurs, I don't know if you know this, is 10% higher than the general population.
Didn't know that.
70% of wealth that gets built fails after one generation, and 90% of wealth that gets built fails after 3 generations. So we're telling everybody, pursue abundance, pursue return on investment.
So that it can be gone in a couple of years.
Right. No, right. So it's failing. And here's the problem with that failure. It's not that it's gone, right? That'd be one thing if it was gone. Sit back just for a moment and imagine what happened relationally. What happened from an addiction standpoint? What are all the unintended consequences that came along the way? The mistrust, the arguments, the divorce, all the stuff that happened while that money was being squandered, the addiction, like I said, right? All that stuff is what happens while that money's disappearing. And as it comes to redefining success, and when I talk about impact and generational prosperity, what I have discovered is that we're pursuing the wrong ROI. So let's change the definition of ROI. ROI is return on intention. And return on intention is found at the intersection of family and finance. So the rest of the world asks you, how much money do you want to make? What return do you want? How do you want to grow what you have? How much money do you want to pass on to your kids? It's all money, 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 money. And my question is this: what impact do you want to have on your family today? What do you want to accomplish with your family today? What do you want to accomplish for your family in a generation? What do you want to accomplish through your grandchildren? What do you want to accomplish for generations? What's your dream generationally for your family and its relationships? Not for your finances. Tell me what you want to do for your family and the impact you want to make on the world. Because if all we do is live with closed fists, we've got to live with open hands. We've got to make an impact somewhere. Our family's impact is on poverty, but what if your impact is somewhere else? I don't care. Go make an impact somewhere, right? Because through impact, you also teach the next generation about your family. And what if prosperity is bigger than the money? What if prosperity is our relationships and our values and what we stand for and who we are and what our purpose is as a family? You're like, Eric, that sounds all fluffy and everything else. No. Here's what I've discovered and is absolutely true because I've helped hundreds of families and businesses do this. It's actually what my other business does and what I coach people through is this fact. Once you figure out the impact you want your family to have, then you reverse engineer what are the financial solutions that will get you there. Once you've completed the vision and the purpose for your family, now instead of getting sold some product or some investment that you've got no idea why you have it or why you own it, you go tell the industry or you go tell them, hey, here's the story I want to create. Therefore, I need this and this and this. You know the solutions that you need to create that outcome instead of being sold solutions that primarily benefit the financial institutions that are trying to sell them to you.
Cool.
And it's this reverse engineering. You go back to this idea of mindset disruption. Instead of letting the world tell you what you need, go figure out what you're trying to create and you will discover what you need.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. And I love it. So, but let's see, because I didn't get it. Right. And I'm a pretty sharp dude.
Yeah.
And, so like other people, like listening, they're probably going to be, it sounds good, but like, oh, I didn't quite get how to implement that. So what do you mean when you say like figure out the purpose of your family and figure out the impact you want your family to have? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So I'm going to paint this for you in the way that I describe it to a lot of people, which is, so the most important relationship we will ever have. And so know my age, I'm 49. I know you've got some people listening that are younger, but I've been married for 25 years, right? Cool. The most important relationship in my life is my relationship with my wife.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. I mean, my kids, I've got 2 kids who are now going to be out of the house. I've got 1 left. In 4 years, my house is empty.
Bro, but that's crazy because like, if you talk to my family, my family is Mexican, like their mindset is, well, your family, your kids will be your kids forever, and your wife, you can change her. Like you can, like she'll leave, and then you'll get another one. That's crazy. Where does that come
is
from,
crazy.
man?
I can't resonate with that.
Yeah, where does that come from? Like, I don't know. Where does that come from? And well, where I know where that comes from. Like, where that comes from is that they've never been able to make any of the relationships work. So that's why they think that way, right?
Yep.
But that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. So
And they get mad. So like they've asked, like, who do you love the most? And I'm like, my wife.
yeah.
And they get mad at me. Like they literally like attack me. Like they can't stand. They couldn't believe when I said it. Like they couldn't believe. They were like, you're crazy. They couldn't believe that I said that, man. But that was like, it was like a genuine answer, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
no, but I mean, it's true, right? I mean, at least for me, is like, okay, when these kids leave, yes, they'll come back and visit, but they're going to go create their own lives. They're going to go create their own families, and I'll get a chance to be engaged in that. But at the end of the day, the woman I lay down to sleep next to every single night is the only person I know for sure is still going to be there.
Yeah.
So the very first relationship I have to pour into is my wife.
Redefine success, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will get back to the truth of the matter, which is what you said. The very first relationship I've got to pour into, in one sense, is me, because if I don't bring a healthy me to her, I can't pour into that relationship either. Which is why, I mean, it sounds like you and I are cut for the similar cloth. I mean, I'm up at 4:30 almost every morning at the gym. Why? Because it's quiet and it's time for me to get the workout in. And if I don't take care of me, then who's going to take care of me?
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. So we deterred for a little bit, right? But I'm glad we did it, because this mindset goes around. I hear it very often. Like, my kids will always be my kids, but my wife can be changed. That's crazy, man. I can't believe it.
Okay. So that's the first thing that you have to look at. Okay. So that's one of the most important relationships I can pour into. The second piece of this comes down to the idea of recognizing, this is going to sound morbid in one sense, recognizing my own morbidity. I'm going to die. At some point, I'm not going to be here anymore. So as much as I want to accumulate stuff, if I do a terrible job in passing the baton and preparing the next generation, then all this stuff I built is a waste of time.
That was a great analogy, man. Passing the baton. So if you're not preparing your kids, like your family, the most important relationships, what the hell are you doing everything why are you working so hard?
Right. If I'm not preparing them, what am I building this for? I mean, I go buy a bunch of cars and boats, maybe, but I mean, they're still going to be left with the cars and boats and houses and whatever you accumulate, and it may ruin them.
Exactly.
If I don't prepare them to pass the baton.
Mm-hmm.
So I take care of my relationship with my wife, and then I go, you know what? I only have a certain amount of time. So my next duty is to prepare my children. Now, this is where it gets a little bit crazy. And this is why, what do I dream for them? The American answer to inheritance is you leave everything you have to your kids equally after you're dead.
That's crazy. No, right? You leave. Well, okay, let me tell me.
No. I mean, but that's the definition of success in America. How much money can you leave to your kids after you're dead? That's the definition. I mean, I see it every single day.
I want you to tell me, but let me tell you, right? Like how I was raised and the programming that I was giving for decades. Well, for 2 decades. I'm 21, so it wasn't that bad. But so look, so there's drug addicts in my family, right? Like my grandma has like 6 kids, and like one of them is a drug addict, and he's the one that receives the most, man. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He like my grandma's thinking about leaving him the house because he's the one that has the least. Well, he shouldn't get the house, right? Like, but go ahead, man. Tell me. Like, I'm just
no. Okay, so if this idea, 2 things that come up under this. One is, let's say we do wait until we pass away to leave our inheritance. How old are our kids by the time that they would get anything? I mean, I don't know, life expectancy in the States, 90 now. I mean, I don't know what it is.
It's pretty high.
Right? So what are they, 70, 75, 65? By that time, you should have figured it out. You don't need an inheritance. You should have figured it out by 65 or 70. So that's the first thing that's wrong. The second thing is, when do the people that you love the most need the inheritance the most? When they're going to college, when they need to buy a house, when they're raising kids and things like that. So what if instead of inheritance being this thing that we leave after we're dead that has zero relationship inside of it, what if we took a step back and said, you know what, I want to bless my kids while they're alive because we can have a relationship as I help them get an education. We can have a relationship as we help them think about how they buy their first house. And what's happening, I'm passing the baton slowly because I'm teaching them how to make these decisions. I can help them as they're starting their first business. I can help them as they're, whatever comes along, but I'm thinking about how can I make an impact on them during their lifetime, not how can I just leave them a pile of money after I'm dead. And then the next thing is, if I accumulate enough, here's what I'm going to tell you, Alex, I know this even for my own kids. There is a point where my kids would have too much. Everything that I have is not the right answer. Now, not everyone's going to agree with that, but I don't need to leave them everything. There's great wisdom, I think, that comes out that basically says, if all you leave someone is money and no wisdom, the money will be fleeting. But if all you leave them is wisdom and no money, they'll figure out how to make the money. So what if I dedicate my life to giving my kids, to pass the baton, to give them wisdom, give them enough tools to figure out how to do it themselves. And maybe over time I'll change my mind, but my kids are anywhere from 21 down to 15 right now. So I'm not leaving them everything because what I know about them right now, I could end up ruining them unintentionally by leaving them everything I have. Think about this from a standpoint. If somebody leaves you $1 million, and let's just run some quick math. I know I'm a math guy, but somebody leaves you $1 million. You're like, that's fantastic. I love having $1 million. And you have a pretty good investment manager who can get you at least 5%. You're now making $50,000 a year. For a lot of people, that's a good amount of money to live off of. So now what's your motivation to work?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, so was it right to leave my kids $1 million?
Well, yeah, but it's good. Yeah, exactly. Well, if you didn't live your kids' wisdom, then no.
Right? No. So when you're asking me, what do I mean about what do I want for my family? It's asking all of those questions to make sure, because the industry just says, well, I want to leave my kids each $5 million a piece. Okay. Or I want to leave my kids $1 million a piece.
But is that what you want?
Number is, right? Without any thought to what are the consequences of doing that, or what's a different way to do it that might pass the baton better. Cool.
So you have a 21-year-old?
I do. I have a 21-year-old.
Cool. And so all right. So let's see. I have a 3-year-old daughter, man. And I'm just like really not worried, but like it's a big concern, like passing her like the baton, like training her, right? Like, yeah, like that's a big concern of mine. And like I surround myself with like 35, 40, 43-year-olds, like multimillionaires and stuff. And they've given me pretty good feedback. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job. So let's see, what can I ask? I don't know what to ask, man.
I'm going to give you some advice. A, you're going to screw it up. Fuck. B, that's okay.
Cool.
Because here's what I've found. When you talk about what it says, impact and generational prosperity, if you want to know what has made the biggest difference for my kids, and I get the opportunity to work with families of abundance and help them kind of impact their kids too. Here's the greatest game changer piece. Expose them to the fact that the rest of the world does not live like them.
Okay. Yeah.
Put in them a position of understanding that they need to be grateful for what they have. So I mentioned to you that I've spent time in Mexico. There is an organization in South Tijuana, Mexico, that builds homes in the former dumps of Tijuana to try and help keep families together. And when we say homes, these are shacks. It's a concrete shed and 4 walls. And that's completely different than where I live in South Louisiana. So every single summer for 7 summers until COVID hit, and we haven't had a chance to go back, we would go to Tijuana for 3 days. We would sleep on the ground and we would build homes and we would use a pit toilet. And all that it did was show my kids that there are people who don't have what these kids didn't have PlayStations. These kids didn't
iPhones,
have,
iPads at 3 years old and stuff like
right? They
that.
didn't have air conditioning. They didn't have all this stuff. And that was enough to disrupt their pattern to say, wait a minute, what? I've been blessed. I've been given stuff that other people haven't. And at the same time, we had a chance to make an impact and give something to someone who didn't have something. And so looking for continual opportunities, as I said, open hand, how can I give back? Generosity is a huge part of what we do in our life. Even when I was screwing it up, it was like I was getting part of it right. The generosity part bled over into my kids because they could begin to see that what we have is not what everyone else has.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So show them gratitude, show them perspective, show them, right, like the rest of the world. Don't like isolate them from what was really going on out there.
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, because the minute you become entitled is when actually you have a different form of scarcity going on, right? So even in the middle of abundance, when you become entitled, now you've got scarcity.
That's crazy, man. Because you want more. So you're always thinking that you don't have enough.
Correct.
Which is it goes back to like, when's going to be enough? Well, a little bit more.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. But it's why it's redefining success, because this is not what the world tells you. The world tells you a little bit more is the right answer.
Cool. Thanks, man. So we have 1 minute, and I got emotional and I just kept on going, but I should have stopped. And I have 4 questions. Do you have like a hard stop?
No, I don't. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Well, the first question is, if you could give your 20-year-old self some advice, what would that be?
My advice would be, it's going to be okay. Because
okay.
I wouldn't want to change anything I experienced, because everything taught me something, right? Like I don't want to go back and change anything, because without those experiences, I don't have the life lessons that I have today. But for the moments where it got really dark, simply the knowledge that it's going to work out, it's going to be okay. That message would be what I would give, because that come back to this idea. What did I say? When there is no hope, dreams die, right? So that's it. I would give myself hope.
Awesome. I like it. Yeah. If you could, so mindset, you're the mindset disruption strategy. So what is a mindset shift that you've had that you think is contributing to your success?
Yeah, if we don't take care of one, and I'm gonna borrow from you because I think you're spot on. If you don't take care of your body, you're being selfish. That sounds really crazy, but you've only been given one. You get one vessel to inhabit. That's it. Don't screw it up, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's back to what you talked about. Then take care of the relationships you have. I've only got one wife. And could I go get another one? I guess I could. That just sounds like it would suck and would be really, really hard and would be emotionally draining. So I'm going to take care of the one I had, take care of the one body, take care of the one wife and kids. And it's the same thing from a mindset. You asked me, what's the mindset shift? The mindset shift is this: the pursuit of money is not the be all end all. The pursuit of self, the pursuit of family, the pursuit of God, those are the things that will bring everything that you're looking for.
Sounds like a love.
Yeah, that's it. Love you, love your family, love God. How about that?
Yeah. Awesome. So, man, you know Grant Cardone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Gary J. White and like these big people. Well, I haven't been able to get them on my podcast, but guess who I've been able to get?
Who?
Their wives. So like I started this other podcast called Understanding a Modern Queen podcast, and it's selfishly and to impact the world, because man, like physically, like I'm on track, emotionally I'm on track, financially I'm on track, sentimentally, man, that's like being a husband and a father, that's the one that, like I told you right now, concerns me the most, not because it's going bad, but just because I want to make sure that I do a good job on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like do this like abundance and prosperity that lasts for generations. So I started the podcast Understanding a Modern Queen, right? For women and for myself, and to for it to impact people. So if you could give a woman out there some advice for her to become this modern queen, what would you say to a woman? And then we talked about what a modern queen is, right? Like having it all, but just in a woman.
Yeah. The first thing I'm going to tell you is I'm just going to state it. I'm not a woman. So I'm going to give it from a man's perspective, is that the love that you're craving from your husband, the attention that you're craving from him, starts in the one place that you are probably most reluctant to give it. And that is this: men crave respect. Men don't want to be loved. Men want to be respected. I mean, men want to be loved, but the number one thing, if you ask most men, is that I care more if you respect me than if you love me. And for women, what I found is it's really, really hard for them to say that they respect a man that they don't feel like they're getting love from. But if that's what you crave, finding some way to give respect to the man in your life
will give you what you want.
Give you the love that you're seeking.
Got it. Cool. Well, and then if you want respect, give love, right?
Oh, absolutely. No. As a man, if you're like, why is my wife not responding more? You're probably not giving love.
Exactly. Cool, man. That was great. That was awesome. So if you could, same thing, just flip it. If you could give a man trying to become this modern king, this modern gentleman, what would you say to him?
Yeah, this one's the things that you think matter. Your priorities are probably backwards. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Start by change your priorities, and you'll change your life.
Got it. Awesome. Well, Eric, I've had a lot of fun, man. Yeah. This was actually, an amazing podcast. One of the best that I've had in a long time. Yeah.
Hey, what do you know?
So thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
And if people want to know more about you, they want to find out, like how to redefine success, how to like make sure that they build wealth and abundance, that they sign for like a plan so that it lasts for generations, and all of these amazing things, where would be the best place for them to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So the best place to find out anything on me is ericl360.com.
Got it. Cool.
And so at ericl360, you got access to all my social media. You get access to my calendar. If you want to set up a call, you get access to my coaching programs. You get access to my books. You get access to everything. ericl360.com will get you anything you need.
Awesome. Is there any other like special place that that people could get a hold of you?
Well, I mean, that's really my best. Eric L. Dunavant, DUNAVANT.com also has other stuff that I'm doing, but I found that Eric L360 is the easiest way, because then it will take you to, if you want, hey, I want to watch a YouTube video, boom, you go watch YouTube videos. If you want to see my social media posts, it'll take you there. So starting at Eric L360 is really the best spot.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Eric. I enjoyed this, and I'll see you later.
All right. Take care.
Thank you for watching the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one friend, leave us a comment, and let us know. 99% of people never leave a review or comment, but we love and are very thankful with the 1% of you who do. If there's something or someone you want to see on this podcast, send me a message on Instagram at Alex_Ramirez1020 and let me know. As a thank you for that, I have an amazing surprise for each and every one of you who does take the time to leave us a comment or review on YouTube or one of the major podcasting platforms